The lush tropical forests of central India hold many dangers. Baby animals, even tiger babies, have no chance of surviving in this harsh environment without the protection of their mother. But what happens when they lose this protection? Two tigers are killed every week by poachers, often leaving their cubs alone to fend for themselves. Not many will make it to adulthood. This is the story of two abandoned cubs who were lucky enough to have been rescued. Can human intervention save these vulnerable baby tigers? The tiger is arguably the most iconic predator on this planet. Yet, it is struggling for its very survival. There are less than 4,000 tigers thought to be left in the wild today. Nearly 70% of them live in the forests of India. Over the years, conservation efforts have yielded good results, and India's tiger population has continued to grow. Yet, challenges remain. An ever-growing human population, increased economic activities, and scarcity of land have seen forest cover shrink, and the tigers have lost much of their habitat. Man-made structures like roads, waterways, townships have cut off the natural corridors the wild animals had used in the past. And most of the tigers are now confined in small pockets of the forest cover left. Yet, they are holding their ground, and their numbers have shown an increase over the recent past. The 50 tiger reserves and national parks created by the Indian authorities have provided a safe haven to the tigers. But as the tiger populations decline around the world, Indian tigers are under increased pressure from poachers who smuggle tiger products to the Far East. Forest rangers across India's protected tiger reserves are always on the alert. Every single tiger is precious. Hence, no effort is spared, even trying to hand-raise the orphaned cubs. The forest rangers were faced with a dilemma when they found these two cubs alone, crying out for help. They were barely 8 or 10 days old. If they were not rescued immediately, they would have either died of cold and hunger or would have fallen prey to a predator. But what if their mother was somewhere around and came back for them? They waited a few hours. But before nightfall, they had to make a decision. They decided to rescue the two cubs. Thus began the difficult task of hand-raising two tiger cubs. This challenge was taken up by Yogendra Singh, one of the wardens. He named them Bandhav and Bandhavi.
हमको बच्चे मिले थे माने 1 किलो 600 ग्राम के थे जब मिले हैं। उम्र लगभग हमारे हिसाब से 8 या 10 दिन के थे।
It was like rearing his own children.
हम 6-7 दिन तक अपने यहाँ कंबल ओढ़ के रात भर ऐसे बैठे माने छुपाते रहे। उनके गर्मी रहे, हर समय गर्मी रहे, माने ठंड न लगे।
He had to get up every few hours to feed them milk.
अपने बच्चों के तरफ जैसे रखते हैं अब उसी तरह हम उनको पालने की कोशिश कर रहे थे। हर 1 घंटे में उनको खाना देना था, चाहे रात हो चाहे दिन हो। माने जब तक उनको दूध देना था, फूड देना था, तो हर एक घंटे में जैसे आवाज़ करें तभी देते रहे उनको।
But these were very different from human babies. Goat milk was not for them. The cubs developed a stomach infection. Panic ensued.
जैसे बकरी का दूध दिए हम, तो 2 घंटे बाद इन्फेक्शन समझ में आने लगा, तो फिर हम बड़े साहब और डॉक्टर साहब को बताया, तो दवा दिए तो उनका इन्फेक्शन वो हो गया।
But thankfully, with medication, they slowly recovered. So now a special formula milk was prepared for them. Gradually, they responded to Yogendra's caring and began to run around and play. The first 6 months to a year is the most crucial age for tiger cubs. There is high mortality during this period. Even in the wild, not all cubs in a litter survive. From a litter of 3 or 4 cubs, barely 1 or 2 of the healthiest ones will make it to adulthood. This is nature's way of ensuring the survival of the fittest. The chances of male cubs making it past the age of 1 are even less. Rival adults see them as a threat. Very often, male tigers will seek out and kill adolescent males to eliminate future challengers. For the rescued brother and sister, this threat was at least eliminated. Still, without their mother's care, their chances of survival were very slim. But to Yogen's relief, they took to the new milk and started gaining weight. After a couple of months, it was time to introduce some solids to their diet. Semi-cooked meat was gradually introduced to their daily intake. That went well, and they seemed to enjoy their food. Curious like any other babies, they began to explore their surroundings. Running around in the enclosure, chasing after Yogendra and the other rangers, even trying to climb trees. As they became bigger, their play could sometimes turn rough. Their claws and teeth were getting sharper and deadlier. Yogendra began to worry.
कि अब इनको बड़ा इंक्लोजर बनवाएं और इंक्लोजर में बड़ा इसलिए कि दौड़ने की इनकी क्षमता ज़्यादा हो जाएगी और आदमी उसे दूर रखेंगे कि ये जंगल में पल सके.
The cubs needed a bigger enclosure and less interaction with humans if they were to prepare for a life in the wild. They needed to learn to hunt or they would not survive. A few miles away, in another part of the forest, 3 tiger siblings are faced with a different challenge. Their mother was killed in a fight with another tiger. When the forest rangers found them, they were a few months old, but still vulnerable. They had neither the strength nor any training to survive in the wild without their mother. The foresters built a large enclosure around them to keep them safe. Initially, they were provided food within the enclosure, but it was now time to teach them how to hunt. A few wild deer were introduced into the enclosure. After failing a few times, their instinct took over, and they started hunting the deer. The 2 brothers were stronger and more aggressive. They claimed the food first. The sister watched silently by the side. She could get her share only when the brothers had finished. But if she were to survive in the wild, she would need to sharpen her hunting skills. Perhaps if she was away from the shadow of her dominant brothers, she would learn faster. The rangers decided to separate the siblings. The strongest of the 2 brothers is transferred into a cage and moved to a nearby tiger sanctuary which has been recently created. He will be the first tiger to be introduced there. This way he will not have to face another male tiger in this area. After keeping him in a large enclosure for a few days, giving him time to adjust to his new surroundings, it is time to set him free. The rangers monitor him for a few days, but he seems to be doing fine and is hunting independently. There is hope now that the other siblings can also one day return to the wild. And our 2 cubs, Bandhav and Bandhavi, can also look forward to a natural life in the wild where they belong.